Hello, 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 and welcome to the Good Vibes Lifestyle. I'm your host, Leslie Klein, here to help you raise your vibrations so you can thrive. Now, we are in some difficult times, but it is the new year and we are going to make it different. We're going to make it a difference because we are focusing on what the positive. And we know that when we focus on what we want, this is how we create. So happy 2026. This is the second show of the year. And, the energies have been a little intense lately, but we are here hanging on, doing it together, and we'll make it through with a little help from our friends. And I've got a lot of great resources in this show today, so please stay with us till the end. We are streaming live to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and I'm also distributing this program on Spotify as well. So if you like to listen on Spotify, do that. So where are you watching from? I love to know where people are watching from. You can put it in the comments now or anytime during the show, or mention it during the replay, because a lot of people do watch us or watch this while we're doing the replay. So let's get into it. So as far as astrological news, we've got a lot going on. The biggest thing is the sun is moving into the sign of Aquarius on January 19th at 8:45 p.m. And this is in Eastern time. So the sun was in the sign of Capricorn for the last month, and we're shifting into Aquarius. So as the sun moves out of Capricorn and into Aquarius, we're shifting from structure and responsibility, which are the qualities of Capricorn, to innovation and liberation. Capricorn season asks us to build and commit and to take responsibility for our lives, whereas the Aquarius season is asking us to question what we've built and ask whether it truly supports freedom, authenticity, and the collective good. So we can see that there's a lot of things happening in the world where people are questioning those, the values and, what our country is all about. So the Aquarius energy is future-oriented, visionary, and community focused. It invites us to think differently and to break the outdated patterns, as well as opening to new ways of living and relating to each other. This sign, Aquarius sign, is the sign of the humanitarian, the rebel, the truth teller, and the innovator. So emotionally, Aquarius encourages detachment without disconnection, creating space to observe patterns, calm reactivity, and respond from a higher perspective. So it's an excellent time to regulate our nervous system and even have a nervous system reset. And also to see situations with clarity rather than through emotional overwhelm. So I do have a comment, and I will put that on real quick. At Henneke123 says, hello, Henneke. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but thanks for being here. So on a practical level, Aquarius season supports new ideas and experiments, the conscious use of technology and media, right? Being mindful about our consumption of the media, which is what I talked about last week. Community healing and collective intention. All that we see happening around our country in reaction to the forces that are coming at Americans and others, this is part of that Aquarian energy. And also releasing outdated rules, roles, and identities. So the Aquarian energy has to do with revolution, with evolving. So a great question to ask or to journal on is this: where am I ready to live more authentically and in alignment with the future I want to help create? So how we respond to what we see going on the news, on social media, in our neighborhoods, this, it's important to ask that question. How am I going to respond to it? what kind of future am I creating with my brothers and sisters in humanity? So I'll just share. Goku is saying hi, and I'm not sure AIS what that means, but I'm assuming maybe it's hi from another language. All right. So in the astrology, we look at the sun, which we just did. We're talking about the transition now from the sun being in the sign of Capricorn into Aquarius. So it's a different kind of energy, and it'll last for about a month. And now we're in the waning moon phase, which means we had that full moon on January 3rd. So the moon was full, and then it starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller until we get to the new moon. So that's why we are in a waning moon phase, meaning it's getting smaller. But what happens a couple of days, from 1 to 3 days before the moon is new, and when it's new, it's when it's full, it's opposite the sun. But when it's new, it comes around and it's conjunct with the sun or right next to the sun. So that's why we can't see it. And so it's called the dark of the moon phase. So this is the time where we can't see the moon because it's right next to the sun. And, this is not a time for setting intentions or taking action like it is when the new moon starts. That's when you start planting your seeds. So the new moon, as I said, is on January 18th at 2:52 p.m. Eastern time. So as far as planting seeds and starting new projects, new ventures, anything new, that's when you want to do it at 2:52 p.m. on Sunday or thereafter. But now, since we are in this dark of the moon phase, this is a time to not to take action, but to pause, to release, and to listen. So we're going to be doing a meditation in a few minutes, a guided meditation, where I'm going to be we're going to be tuning into that energy. But before we do that, we're going to zoom out a little bit as far as the galaxies and the stars, and we're going to talk about UFO and UAP disclosure. This is a topic that I've been following for a while, back when Dr. Stephen Greer started his press conferences at the National Press Club in DC back in 1993. And what's happening is that James Fox, who is a documentary film director, and he's also an investigator of UFO and UAP disclosure, he is going to have a press club conference, press conference, let's say, on Tuesday, January 20th. And I believe it starts at 11 a.m. So he's going to talk about an event that happened in 1996 in Varginha, Brazil, where there was a UFO crash, and he's going to be talking about the need for greater transparency. He has several witnesses that are going to be talking, and from what I'm reading, it will be live streamed on News Nation. So if you go to, you could Google News Nation, or I usually watch it on YouTube, News Nation. You can watch the whole thing, and it's going to happen in 2 sessions. There'll be one in the morning and one in the afternoon, but I believe it starts at 11 o'clock. So this is something that would be great to watch. Now, James also came out with a new movie called Moment of Contact, and that's available on Amazon. I'll get the link for that to you next week. In the meantime, regarding disclosure, as I've talked about before, am one of the volunteers for the Citizens for Disclosure, and also one of the co-leaders of the state of Florida's Citizen for Disclosure. And one of the things that I do, what I have done as part of my volunteering, is create a monthly series called the Disclosure Dialogues. So the next episode with that is going to be this coming Wednesday, in about a week on January 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with Sarah Nelson. Now, Sarah Nelson is the executive director of the New Paradigm Institute. And the New Paradigm Institute is the organization that hosts the Citizens for Disclosure, which is their grassroots arm of the New Paradigm Institute. So you can actually go to this website, newparadigminstitute.org, sign up, become a volunteer. It's free. And this is a way that we put pressure on our government, on our Congress people to release, to protect the whistleblowers who are coming out about disclosure, and to find out, get access to the ET craft, to the technology, to even the ET bodies that they have. It's already been in several of these hearings. They've admitted to it. The government has the bodies. Roswell did happen. The government has been in interacting and working with these ET civilizations. And there's more than just one species. There's more than just the ETs, the Greys, for instance. So, this is a way that we can get involved and put pressure on our government to release that information. Why is it important? Because the technology that they have, they are using it. They've reverse engineered these craft to get this technology to use for weaponization, to use for more military, purposes, and not for the common good. There are technologies that can be used to clean up the planet, to create prosperity, to get rid of poverty. And this is something that Dr. Stephen Greer has talked about for many years. So this is why being part of this activist type of event is something that is important to me. And if you agree with me, this is a great way to get involved and not just learn about it and chase UFOs and know that they're there, but really to do something that can help humanity. So we have Vicki Smith saying hello. Thank you, Vicki, for being here. So great to see you. So that's what's going on with Citizens for Disclosure. And what I've done with this new year is adding some new parts of segments to this live stream. And one of them is a meditation. So just a short 5-minute meditation. And the reason that I'm doing this is because with all that's happening in the world, it's important to tune in to our higher guidance, to tune into our spirit, to kind of regulate our nervous system, like we were talking about with the Aquarian energy. Because when we are watching the news, the social media, or any kind of injustice, and there seems to be more and more of it happening, it upsets us. It puts us in that flight, fight response. And if we're in that energy all the time, we burn out. And one of the great ways to regulate that is to go into meditation and to get used to calming ourselves down, quickly in the middle of the day, and maybe doing it, not just in the morning or the evening, but doing it when things are tense, to do those deep breaths. So that's one of the reasons that I've included this now in our program. So let me get our music started. Lower that a little bit so it's not too loud. And so if you are just, if you're driving or operating heavy equipment, do not do this meditation. But if you're in a space where you can take a breath and relax for just a minute, we want to connect with the dark of the moon, this couple of days before the new moon. And this guided meditation is called Resting in the Dark. We're still moving from the wood snake energy of 2025 into the fire horse energy. So we're going to be thinking about that as we do this meditation. So the dark of the moon does not ask us to do. It asks us to be still. This is the quiet space before the beginning, where truth exists before it has words, and wisdom rises without effort. So let's pause together and rest in that stillness. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to decide. There's nothing to figure out. Only space to receive. So gently close your eyes and take a slow, steady breath in through the nose and an even slower breath out through the mouth. Allow the exhale to soften you. The dark moon brings darkness, not as emptiness, but as fertile, living space. Nothing needs to be visible right now. Nothing needs to make sense. Nothing needs to move forward. Bring your awareness to the center of your chest. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your breath. Feel yourself supported exactly as you are. Now imagine yourself resting in rich, dark soil, warm and nourishing, protective. You are held. You are safe. You are allowed to rest. In this darkness, there is no pressure to grow. Growth is already happening beneath the surface. Quietly, without effort, ask within, what is ready to be released? You don't need to analyze it or name it. Simply allow anything heavy, outdated, or complete to soften and gently dissolve back to the earth. So ask just as softly, what truth is forming beneath the surface? Do not search for words. Let the answer arise as a sensation, an image, or a feeling of knowing. Now place one hand over your heart and silently affirm, I trust what is forming in the unseen. I allow clarity to arrive in its own time. Rest here for a few moments longer, breathing, listening, doing nothing at all. The dark moon rarely gives us loud answers. Instead, it offers directional knowing, something we feel more than think. That knowing will guide everything that follows. Now, when you're ready, begin to bring gentle awareness back to your body, to the space around you, and softly open your eyes. So how was that for you? It is hard to go sometimes from the head down to the heart, from the left brain to the right brain. And that's what we're doing. But I think it's important to learn how to switch, switch gears when we're in our heads too much. It's important to drop down into the heart. So now that we've done that, it's a great time to talk about the new segment of Oracle spreads that I have changed in our program here. So we were doing the Oracle of the Month every month, but now that we've gone through so many oracles over the last, I think, 2 to 3 years, I think it's great. I came across this book called The 111 Oracle Spreads for Every Day by Crystal Banner. And so what I'm doing every week is talking about a different spread of the week. And we're using 1-card spreads during the month of January. And then in February, we'll do 2-card spreads all the way up to 10, because she only goes up to 10 in this book. So today's spread is actually going to be the empowerment spread. She says, sometimes you need to be reminded of your strengths, and this quick spread allows you to do so. Use this spread to acknowledge and celebrate one of your greatest strengths at the moment, and reflect on the energy that is empowering you. So this card represents your greatest strength at the present movement. And I'm going to use the Psychic Tarot deck. And you can find all of these decks, the book and all the decks that I've talked about on the good-vibes.tv website. So let's pull a card for all of us collectively. What is our greatest strength at the present moment? So this is for everyone watching, whether you're watching live or on the replay. And the card that I'm getting, interesting. So this particular deck does include the chakras. And so we've got the third eye chakra. So this will be interesting. Let's see what the third eye chakra is. And before I even read it, see what comes to you intuitively. We've done that meditation. You've kind of dropped into your inner self, and you tapped into your higher knowledge. So what does that represent to you? The third eye. The third eye is our vision. It's our intuition. It's our seeing. So this is what the empowerment part is for us. So the third eye, the color is indigo. The sound is Om, which is the sound of peace. The element is light. The gland is the pituitary gland, and the keyword is I see. This is most often talked about of all the chakras, and clairvoyance, which is inner seeing, intuition. This is the most often talked about of all the chakras, and clairvoyance, which is inner seeing, intuition, and higher levels of consciousness are all associated with this energy center. It's found between your eyebrows and just above the bridge of your nose. It works closely with the throat and crown chakras and will assist you with your psychic and intuitive inner guidance. To balance the third eye, I recommend that you practice walking meditations, breath work, yoga, Tai Chi, visualizations, and color therapy. Don't just focus on this one chakra as part of your development. And it's important to remember that they should all be in balance in order to work in unison and harmony. So putting that together with this spread as to, what is our greatest strength in the moment is our third eye, is what we see, what we visualize, because what we focus on, we create. And, there are many, many metaphysical teachers that talk about visualization. So visualizing is very important, but also feeling the feelings that go with that visualization is the kind of the power behind manifestation. So, but what we see, what are we visualizing? What kind of world are we creating? So tap into your intuition is so important. And speaking of intuition and spirituality, I like to talk about different ways we can be active, activists. And, one of the ways that we can do that is by meditation, which we just did. And there's a great activity opportunity that we have this coming Sunday. Dear friend of mine, her name is Becca Williams. She is actually hosting a free Cannabis Elevation Ceremony, which is a guided experience for emotional freedom. Find and release what's holding you back. So I'm going to go to her website right now, which I'll give you so that you can actually sign up. But she's doing this. Let's see, how can I switch this here? Add to stage, there we go. I'm gonna make it big so you can see it. So this is her website, and here is the link to her website, beccawilliams.org/elevation/. So let me share this with you. So her Cannabis Elevation Ceremony, where she's using plant medicine, whether you use psilocybin or cannabis. And it's not required. You can actually do this ceremony without the cannabis. But for those that like to use cannabis and use it in a mindful way, this is a great opportunity, again, and it's free. So guided experience for emotional freedom, find and release what's holding you back. It's happening at 2:00, which is going to be very interesting because it's, the new moon starts at 2:52, and you can click on here to save your spot. So here's a little bit about it. The Elevation Ceremony is a 75 to 90-minute guided experience that pairs ancient Eastern practices employing industrial strength active meditation elements with potent verbal prompting to help surface and release emotional blocks, old patterns, or whatever mental noise is knocking loudest in your head. Cannabis is completely optional. You can work with different strains and types. You could even just use CBD if you want, or no plant medicine at all. The ceremony meets you exactly where you are. This is not about escaping, it's about deepening. You remain aware, grounded, and very much here. So when you sign up, you will have access to the guided meditation. She has a couple of preparation videos and setting up your space and preparing the cannabis if you choose. She's going to have a little bit of guidance on choosing different strains and amounts based on your experience level. And there is a 7-day replay access after the ceremony, so you can do the meditation again over 7 days. And you also have connection with the like-minded community. So I'm not going to go through all of her website here, but again, let me put the link, and it will be in the show notes as well, beccawilliams.org/elevation. So I just find this a great opportunity to use plant medicine and wanted to share this with you. She has been very distraught, like most people, and seeing the events that are happening all around the country. And she's actually an expatriate. She lives in Portugal now. She holds different retreats and things like that in Portugal. And she was actually, I interviewed her on a session or an episode of Good Vibes TV. And you can go to this tinyurl.com/GVTV Conscious Cannabis and actually get to learn a little bit more about her from that episode. So yeah, I wanted to share that. It's a great opportunity, and I plan on being there as well. So as far as other things that we can do for spiritual activism, we see these monks that are walking across the country, like 100 miles across the country from Houston to Washington, D.C., all about peace. And their big message is to find the peace within. And when we find the peace within, we're able to express that and create that peace in our world. So it's really about being the peace, especially when we see so much violence and things. Again, Pam Gregory, she recommends meditating every day at 2:00 as a group meditation for just 15 minutes to send love and light to the planet. You can do whatever kind of meditation you want. You can keep it as simple as you want. You can use the Heart Math Coherence app, which I've talked about in the past as well. And when you're doing the meditation and you feel like you need to do more or take, some kind of action, when you're in that space, ask Spirit for inspired action. Find out, Spirit, what is it that I can do? One of the things that I have been doing, and that does help relieve the frustration that I've been experiencing when I see all these injustices happening, is writing our congresspeople. Very simple, and it really, you can write them or even call them, but just go to congress.org, put in your zip code. It'll tell you who your representatives are, who your senators are, and it has a contact information. There's an email, and you could just fill it out and send it. Do it every day. Do it 3 times a day if you want. I've used all caps and all kinds of superlatives in what I sent them. And at least for me, it feels like I'm doing something. I'm expressing myself. I'm saying this is not right. And, speaking my truth, expressing, doing my First Amendment right of free speech. So there are many other things, and there are protests, of course. And one thing that Marianne Williamson said in one of her Substacks, which I wanted to share, maybe I'll pull it up next week. She says, if you pray, if you meditate, if you peacefully protest, if you write your congresspeople, do that. If you organize, but do something, because we are at a place where we can't just hide from this. We need to take action and create, be the energy of what it is that we want in this world, but also take the appropriate inspired action. And that's based on what guidance you're getting. It's not for me to tell you what to do. I know I just share what I do and what I've been able to do, and what I feel that it's right. But I think talking about this is very, very, very important. So next up, I want to talk about something kind of exciting. There's a new book that I'm in, and the launch date is today. The name of the book is called The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Resilience Quotes by Entrepreneurs, Business Owners, and Influencers. And right in here, you can see that there's a QR code that you can take a picture of, and that'll take you to an Amazon page where you can get the Kindle. They're doing a special price of $3.99. It'll go up after that, after at least today. I'm not sure how long they're doing this special for, but because it's a launch day, they're doing this. And if you don't do QR codes, here is an Amazon link that you can use, and I will put that in the show notes as well. So, congratulations to all of I think it's 355 authors. Some authors took more than one page, so that's why there's only 355 authors doing the 365 pages. But, if talking about resilience, talking about bouncing back, I have my little page. Each day has a page quote and question to ponder, and thought, and plus contact information for all the different authors, great thought leaders and things that are in this book. So congratulations to all my co-authors of this book, The Art of Connection. And I believe next week the hard or the paperback copy will be available, but the cheapest is to get the Amazon link, and by buying it today, that helps us get ranked up and become international bestsellers, which is what where this book series has done before. The previous ones were 365 Days of Gratitude and also Abundance, and those were some of the books that I was in before. All right, and lastly today, let's talk about a tip to raise your vibration. So last week's tip was to practice a news fast for 1 week out of the month. I haven't done this myself, I will confess, but it is a goal because I know what we feed, which wolf are we feeding? Like I talked about last week, are we feeding the positive wolf or the negative wolf, the love wolf or the fear wolf? What we consume, what we pay attention to, what we, consume, digest, whatever, is what we become. So important to be aware of that and, shift if we're focusing on things that we don't want. Now, this week's tip is to use plant medicine to regulate your nervous system. And this cannabis elevation ceremony that Becca is doing on Sunday is a great opportunity. And again, you don't have to use plant medicine. And plant medicine is not just cannabis or psilocybin. You can use other herbs. Let me think. Whether it's a chamomile tea, it's a plant, right? Anything natural like that to calm yourself. So there are a lot of different calming type herbs out there that you can take in teas, or pills too. But so anyway, I recommend that this is our tip of the week, to practice regulating your nervous system using plant medicine. And if you don't want to use a plant medicine, just do regular meditation. So my friends, I want to thank you for watching today. And if you got some good information, please feel free to share this out to the world, because we need more positive energy out there. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Take care, everyone.